Hello and welcome. Um, a few things to discuss, one of which is the objectives of the United States and of Donald Trump as far as the war is concerned, and whether those objectives have been reached uh, in any shape or form. I'm beginning to think that somehow they've taken their eye off the man and they're playing the ball. The United States' objectives in the Persian Gulf and with the Islamic Republic and this war with Iran was always to stop them from acquiring nuclear arsenal and weaponry, two, to prevent them from facilitating their proxies, Hezbollah and Hamas, and three, stop bullying the region. It's a fundamental question whether those objectives have been reached or not in any shape or form. Some may argue that they haven't because the regime is still standing and the people in the regime are still carrying on business as usual. I happen to think that the United States should have begun by now its land invasion. There is no way that the United States in any shape or form is going to get rid of the nuclear ambition by the Islamic regime government and the IRGC just by bombing campaigns and assassinations. This is a kind of frivolous way to carry this out because it's not going to happen. You have to eradicate the ambition. Excuse me, of wanting to acquire nuclear weaponry. This is the ambition of the people who have attuned themselves and attached themselves to the Islamic Republic and the ideologies of the Islamic Republic government. Revolution first, spread the revolution, protect yourself at any cost, survive for as long as you can till death do you part, and inflict as much damage as possible if you are going to be eradicated. This is their ideology. So just by assassinating key people in the IRGC and the Islamic Republic isn't going to do it. This is a very strange mentality. I don't understand. I think the US and Israel need to go in, and I am pretty sure that that was the intention or the ambition, certainly at least, of the State of Israel when they started this. And it may even have been Donald Trump's personal ambitions. But for whatever reason, the longer this prolongs, it's going to be more difficult for the United States to justify a land invasion because that's going to, create casualties for the US. And I don't think that the US public will take that very favorably. So, a missed opportunity, I think, at some point. The second thing is there have been some rumors lately, speculations, that Russia may want to sell Iran a nuclear warhead or some kind of nuclear bomb in order to create a deterrent so that the Europeans and even the United States stop helping Ukraine. Apparently Russia has taken a lot of losses in the last few weeks, and Ukraine's drone attack campaign on Russia have escalated to the point where Russia, I think, is feeling the heat somewhat. So I think just to kind of piss off the Americans or to warn them off and the Europeans, Putin has said that, it may be possible to sell Iran an atomic bomb. I don't know how true this is or how valid it is, or if indeed it's just a rumor or if it's a speculation or whatever. I don't know. I'm just mentioning it here because this is what I've been hearing some of the commentators talk about. It's not the type of thing you're going to get on legacy media because, what you hear in legacy media is often a wish list from the opposition political parties of certain countries using the legacy media as a mouthpiece for their own political ambitions and defamations against the sitting government. So I wouldn't read too much into it if you hear it from them. But in certain private channels of podcasters, I have heard this kind of circulating. So I don't know if it's true or not. I mean, if it is, it's catastrophic to some extent. Maybe the rumor has been created by the U.S. itself to create a justification of land invasion. We don't know. Almost anything is possible in politics. It's, you know, politics is like a magic show. You can make anything disappear, even an elephant. So that's the second thing. The third thing I wanted to talk about was the role of the king Reza Pahlavi in all of this. You know, I think going around Europe and giving conferences and speeches and, you know, doing Q&A with these journalists and so forth is kind of old hat. It's redundant. You know, he needs to stop doing this. If you're going to go to any country, please at least go to Eastern European countries. Go to a country in Asia or in the Persian Gulf. I understand that there may be security implications in doing that, but you know, even announcing the fact that you want to go and visit Israel or Saudi Arabia is by itself monumental. And even if he doesn't go through with it for any reason, security reasons, because of security reasons he was unable to visit the king in Saudi Arabia, for example, whatever. That's not the point. The point is make the announcement. Often in public life, announcements are more important than implementations and even executions. Just announcing that fact, I think by itself speaks volumes. And I think most of you would agree. I mean, it's the sensible thing to do. What's the point in, you know, going and answering questions to journalists about the situation in Iran and how many people have died, executions and false arrests and kangaroo trials. I mean, we've been doing that for 47 years. We don't need to talk about those things anymore. It's, you know, it just falls on deaf ears, doesn't it? I mean, it has till now, so, you know, why carry on? But I think there's a bunch of other things that he can do, which I think are much more useful. I have something else as well in mind, and one of them is that, you know, I'm not particularly in favor of some of the people that he has in his council around him. I'm not completely in support of those decisions and even the individuals involved, because I think that most of them have kind of gained that if you like, that ascension to those posts because of, not just because of their political beliefs, but also because of the fact that they were imprisoned by the Islamic regime. It seems like the qualifying factor that is required in order to join the opposition team against the Islamic Republic. I'm totally against it. I just want to make that clear. And I'm pretty sure that a lot of Iranians privately, in their own minds, think a similar type of thought. You know, I mean, if you want to bring a human rights lawyer on board your team in order to spearhead legalities and legal points and possibly the framing of a new constitution and so forth, there are plenty of lawyers, Iranian lawyers, lawyers who live in Iran, outside of Iran, everywhere. Why do they have to be imprisoned in order for them to qualify for this post? It seems to me that that has become very paramount. And the other thing is, you know, there are a lot of people in the king's team that are not exactly his supporters. In fact, most of them aren't even royalists, as far as I've been able to ascertain. That by itself is a very detrimental feature, I think, because and I know that Reza Pahlavi says that, you know, he's a transitional leader, and I don't know what that means. As I said in my previous program, I really don't know what kind of shape that's going to take, and having a referendum and all of these things, these are all kind of a bit fanciful in my thinking, and I think rather unnecessary and irrelevant. I understand that he sees himself that way at any point. And anyone else in his team, it doesn't matter if they're royalists or if they're anti-Pahlavi or they're even anti-democracy and so forth. I mean, some of the members in his team, for example, I'll give you a name, Shirin Ebadi, for example, who is a human rights lawyer. First of all, she's not a royalist. Secondly, she's not totally in favor of the Pahlavi dynasty. She never has been, as I understand it. So what's the point? What's the objective? Because there are lots of lawyers who may not be royalists and so forth. What is it that makes her prominent? It can't be just her work, because there are lots of other human rights lawyers. You know, there is an image perception here at play as well. I think the king needs to portray the right image. Image is everything. First impressions count. Because in the first few moments, you create an impression, and then you chip away at it as time goes by. But that first impression, nonetheless, stays with you. It is possible to judge a book by its cover. Absolutely. It is. Perhaps not the content, but you can judge the book by its cover. The content will take a long time. So sometimes a lifetime. We don't know. That's besides the point. The point is, part of being in a team is also about image. It's the image that you are portraying to the world, to the Iranian people. Not just that, but it's the image that you're portraying to yourself. You know, show me your friends and I'll tell you who you are, kind of thing. I think some of these things need to be a little bit more carefully considered. Despite the fact of it being modern times and so forth, and people are more open-minded. But, you know, it takes an effort to be open-minded. You know, we still rely upon our instincts far more than we care to admit. It takes a little bit more effort to kind of overcome those and say, no, I really am open-minded. Again, I don't know what that means too. But going back to the objectives of the US, I think they need to be very careful at this point. Ground invasion is definitely called for, and it must, because that's the only way you're going to eradicate the ambitions of this regime from achieving nuclear capability. Doesn't matter how much you bomb them and how many of them you kill. I mean, they're like rats. They'll just, you know, more will come out the nest. That's not the point. You know, these people are not in those positions because of their know-how, technicalities, education, and so forth. They're simply in those positions, in those governmental or administrative positions, for their very simple and ignorant beliefs. They're not there because they're particularly knowledgeable. It's very easy to find people like Ghalibaf and Vahidi everywhere in the streets of Tehran or anywhere else. They're easy to find. They're everywhere. These people are nobody. So killing them, individually assassinating them, will only do things for morale. And it's good that they should be assassinated because it increases the morale of the Iranians who are opposing this government and this regime. But what then? I mean, you can't just create morale after morale after morale and hope for it to have some type of justified end or a conclusive outcome. That's not going to happen. That morale is good. It's, you know, it's endorphin, isn't it, for the soul. It prepares you and propels you to commit the act and to commit yourself to the endeavor. But, you know, you need the other things too. It's no good having endorphin to run for 20 miles when you don't have the capability to run for 20 miles. You may need a car to take you part of the way. Where is that car? That car is the ground invasion. That car is eradicating the ambition of these people by taking them over, going into their homes and dragging them out, going into parliament and dragging them out and closing parliament down. That's what needs to be done. Thank you.